Hi folks, Oxynana Alice here, throwing in a quick tutorial on how to set up the sides of your heel flap so you can pick up the stitches to do the gusset on your socks. So hope you enjoy this short tutorial. Please like, subscribe, and if you have any questions or anything, please leave it in the comments below. Take care. Okay folks, here we go. First I'm going to show you how to get the nice even bumps along the edge of your heel flap. This works for any pattern that you're working on. If you want these nice little bumps to pick stitches up later, you're always going to slip your first stitch as if to knit. And in this case, for the heel flap, you're going to slip the first stitch and then go ahead and knit the first 2 stitches. That way you'll have a nice little garter edge on your heel flap. And then go ahead and follow whatever pattern you're working with, whether it's a slip stitch heel flap or if it's an eye of partridge. Just go ahead and follow along the right side of your pattern for your heel flap. In this case, I'm doing a slip stitch as if to purl and then knit stitch. I'm going to do that to the end, almost to the end of your heel flap. Make sure you have 3 stitches on the end and you're going to automatically knit all 3 of those stitches. And in this case, so you're going to slip the first stitch of your row and always knit the last stitch of your row, no matter what your pattern is. And that's going to give you all these nice little ridge bumps along the edge of your work. Also note that each one of these ridge bumps counts as 2 rows. So it makes it really easy for counting the rows on your work. Now turn it over to the wrong side, and you're going to slip as if to knit that first stitch again as part of that whole nice side bumps along the edge of your work. So go ahead and slip as if to knit. And now you're going to knit the next 2 stitches because you want to make a nice ridge on your heel flap. And then go ahead and do whatever pattern you're doing again for the wrong side now of your pattern of your heel flap. In this case, I'm doing a complete row of purling back to the other side. Okay, so that's it for making sure you get all of your bumps along the side of your heel flap. And now at the end, you see again, I'm going to make sure the last 3 stitches there. I'm going to purl up until the last 3 stitches on this heel flap. And then go ahead and knit the 2 stitches and knit the last stitch. Now that you've set up the edge with all the nice bumps, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to pick up those side stitches for your heel gusset. Okay, as you can see, you've got the beautiful bumps on the side of your work. Now, on both sides of your work, you've turned your heel, and now you're going to split the heel stitches in half, and now to pick up these side stitches. Take your left-hand needle, and you're going to go along and just pick up the edge of those stitches right at the very top. Some people pick it up in the front, but then that'll give you a ridge on the inside of your foot. You might not like the feeling of that. I like to pick it up right along the top of those stitches. Put your marker, your row marker, so you know where you're going to be starting your foot stitches, the top of your foot stitches, and these will be your gusset stitches that you're going to work with. So it all depends on your which section of this little heel bump or these little side bumps that you want to pick up. But as long as you remain consistent with how you're picking them up, it'll look nice and neat and clean as you go along, as you knit along. You're just picking them up right now. You're not going to knit them yet. You're just going to pick them up along the edge. Sorry for the blurriness of this. It'll clear up in a second. But you can see already how these are looking nice and straight. These stitches are looking nice and straight. And again, very easy to pick up. Take your time. It's not a race. It's easy to split these stitches as you go along. You can always see there I almost missed one, so I'm going to go back and grab the one that I missed. And there I'm checking to make sure that I've got the right section of the bump. You want whichever leg you're picking, you want every bump to be picking up the exact same leg, the exact same type of strand, so that when you pick up the stitches, they look nice and even and clean. And there's the last bump I'm coming up to. There you go. And then I'm going to just go ahead and start knitting across up the side of that gusset. Pull it nice and tight there. Make sure that your first stitch is quite tight, so you don't end up with any holes in there. And then just knit across. Sometimes if that stitch is very loose, I will knit through the back of the stitch, but mostly through the front. And it'll be nice and tight up against the that nice little row of garters. Split a stitch there. So back it up, start again, take your time, make sure you get all the strands of your stitch in there. When you get close to the end, you may see that you've got a bit of a gap between the last stitch of the garter bumps that you're picking up and the first stitch of your foot. See how nice and clean that looks already? So what I like to do, I'll move my marker over onto the back needle, the right hand needle, and see there's actually a strand in between. I'll actually pick that up and either knit the next stitch and flip it over, or sometimes I'll knit them both together. But I always pick up the strand in between so that it shortens that gap a bit. And so that way you get rid of that hole that happens right there. If you end up with a hole, you can always go back with a little piece of wool and do a little darn job and hide the threads. Now on the other side, I've knit around the foot. And now on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go and work it out so that I pull the needle so that I can pick the bumps up with the left-hand needle. And again, look for the section of that bump that you want to pick up and stay consistent. In this case, I'm picking it up right on the edge. You can see the threads right there. And as you do this more often, it'll get easier, and you'll see how it comes together each time better and better. This is all a practice makes perfect kind of craft. There you go. Be sure to take your time. Make sure you're picking up just that one stitch, that one thread that's on the top. If you pick up more, it'll just be a bulky stitch, that's all. Again, my apologies for the blurry video from time to time here. And one of these days I'll break down after COVID, the numbers have gone down, and maybe go for a manicure. Yeah, there's the very last one there. It's variegated wool, so that's why it's blue. Okay, so I didn't knit that last stitch because I'm going to show you how I pick up that in-between bar that's in between the stitches. And again, these ones I knit together into the corner. You can kind of judge it as you go, see how you want to effectively close the hole there. Make sure you put your marker, your little stitch marker there, so that you know where to start your gusset. And then you're going to do your decreases. This is just the setup round to set up your heel flap gusset stitches to be decreased. So there you go. Go ahead and knit along those picked up stitches nice and tightly. I like to do mine very tight as I can, and then that way I know that there's not going to be as many little holes gaping, and I don't need to go back and do any kind of surgery and what have you on those holes. And there you have it. Oh, I split a stitch, so just go back, take your time, like I said. Take your time, pick them up slowly, knit them slowly. That way you get a little bit more accurate and you'll be happier with your result. Oh, I dropped 2 there, so I'm going to go ahead and pick those 2 up again with my left needle and knit them up back into the works. Now go ahead and knit across the foot of the bottom part of your heel. And once you've done half of those heel stitches, you've actually done the round, and you're back to the start of round, and then this starts the decreasing section of your heel gusset. There you go. That's it. You've picked them up. Good for you. Doesn't that look beautiful? I love the way this turns out. I'm very happy with this way of doing it. I hope you are too. Let me know in the comments below if you have any problems with this video or if there's anything I can do better.